All right, so let's go back real quick. Now, the sum of the interior angles of a convex polygon. Now, let's just look at exactly what they mean by a convex. All right, so here is a quick review of concave and convex. All right, so if I do something like this, this is considered concave. All right, now, besides the fact that it makes a cave, all right, the real definition is when you draw the diagonals. All right, and then I have to tell you what a diagonal is, so listen to me. A diagonal is just a segment drawn from any two non-consecutive vertices. All right, so what does that mean? This is a vertice, or that's a vertex, that's a vertex. So if I draw that, that is not a diagonal because those are consecutive sides or consecutive vertices, which would create a what? Which would create a side. All right, if I draw from here to here, that is considered a what? Diagonal. All right, because it was drawn from two non-consecutive vertices. All right, now this from here to here is a diagonal. But that diagonal is not in the interior of the polygon. Therefore, it is considered a concave polygon. All right? If I were to fix this and I were to say this, then this now is considered a what? Convex. Because no matter how hard I try, when I draw the diagonals, all right, it will be inside of the shape. That is exactly correct. All right? So that's the difference. That's the difference between concave and convex. All right? Now, let's figure out how many degrees are in a polygon. All right? So to figure out how many degrees are in a polygon, it is real simple task because we know how many degrees are there in a triangle. There are 180 degrees in a triangle. 180 degrees in a triangle.
Oh, you just trying to find as many triangles?
Yes, all you're doing, thank you, is you're drawing triangles from one vertex, though. All right, and you're drawing all of the diagonals. So if you draw these diagonals from any vertex, you will see that in this case, there are 5 sides. That creates what? 3 triangles. So that means the sum of the interior angles is 540. All right? Yep. And so now what? The formula for the degrees is n minus 2 times 180. All right? Where n represents the number of sides. And of course, that has to be for a convex. Or it has to be for a convex. All right? So now let's look down. All right? And see what it says. So we want to find the sum. All right? So now it's just a matter of you recognizing that a decagon is what? 10 sides. So then it was just simply 10 minus 2 times 180. All right? Octagon has how many sides?
8.
So it's 8 minus 2 times 180. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
All right? 16 gone.
Wow.
So that would be what? 16 minus 2 times 180. 12 gone, which is also called a dodecagon, thank you very much, is 12 minus 2 times 180. And then a 30 gone would be
30. Let's try something.
And then they're just showing you once you get to large numbers, you just use the number itself to describe
How long does it go that you don't have?
We should have. That was it's like 3:35.
All right. So is everybody okay with that? Very simple. All right. Now, here is the next important thing. Come on, guys. Remember, I want to get done. That's all I want to do. Get done. All right. It's a nice, easy day. Simple. All right. Good Friday. All right. And we'll be done before we leave. All right. Oh, what am I going to do? So I have now what's referred to as a regular polygon. If you have a regular polygon, that just means that all of the sides are the same and all of the angles are the same. So it's real easy to calculate a angle measure given the fact that they're all what? Equal. All right? So in this case, it says, the measure of an interior angle of a regular polygon is given. Find the number of sides. All right? Well, first, let's go back to the fact that the sum, all right, and I'll just come down here so I can write. The sum is equal to what? N minus 2 times 180. Is everybody okay with that? Everybody okay with the sum? All right? So if I want to find the measure of one of the angles, if it's regular, I would simply take that sum and divide it by what? Now, what does n represent? The number of sides, which means n is also the number of angles. So if I want to find the measure of one angle, it would be what? N minus 2 times 180 divided by what? By the number of sides or the number of angles. All right? So that's the measure of the interior angle of a regular polygon. So it's n minus 2 times 180 divided by n. Everybody with me on this? All right? So now, how does that help me? So look up here. All right, so the measure of the interior angle is 150. All right, so now it's just a matter of 150 is equal to n minus 2 times 180 divided by what? N. Everybody okay with that? And now we're just multiplying or we're solving the equation. All right, so this would be 150n is equal to 180n minus 360. Is everybody good with that? And so you should be able to see that 30n is equal to 360. So n is equal to what? N is equal to 12. Is everybody okay with that? What you having trouble with? Well, this is the important stuff. Practicing the equations. Look right here. I'm solving this equation. You with me? So I take n and I multiplied it over on that side. Do you hear that? And then I distributed the 180. You with me on this? All right. Now I'm moving 150 and moving the 360. Is that good? Now I have to do that how many times there? Like 6 times. All right, it's kind of boring, but now, because it's so boring and I want to try to help you with your technology, I'm going to show you. But listen, if you don't know how to solve that equation, then me going forward doesn't help. Right? Is everybody with me? And this is where I think some of you guys are making mistakes. I say something is easy, and you just go, well, he said it's easy, so I don't have to worry about it. You have to look right now, and you have to say, do I understand how to solve that equation? If you don't know how to solve the equation, just like William did, raise your hand and say, come on, show me real quick. I show him real quick, now he says, okay. All right, now sometimes I get louder, and instead of you saying, well, I still don't get it, you're like, well, yeah, he's yelling at me, so I'm just going to go on. That's not what I want. Be brave. Get a backbone. That's what we're building here. Strong backbones. All right, so you understand what I said, right, William? All right, quickly.
What do you divide by n overall?
Okay, so that's a very good question. So listen, let's go back to the formula right here. So listen to me. This right here is the sum of all angles, correct? That's the sum of all the angles. Well, I only want what? 1. And because all of the angles are equal, I can divide by n.
Oh, okay.
Right? Now, this example that I gave up here, Are all these angles the same? No, because they're not what? Regular. But if I were to add up all of those angles, it would add up to what? It would add up to 540. You with me? But they're not equal. All right, so this formula only works when it says it is a what? Regular. All right, is everybody happy with that? All right, so now, getting back to what I was trying to tell you now, I'd like for you to take out your calculator because I'd like to show you something that's kind of cool. All right. Well, you need a graphing calculator for this to work, though. All right. Now, again, like I said, I'm not sure why some of you don't just leave your calculator in your book bag, but what do I know about, being prepared?
Does anyone have it? What about Amazon?
All right. Here we go. So now, listen. Do the regular charges work on that?
I saw one that they wanted to.
All right, see if that's it. Does it work or not?
No.
All right. So again, put a little reminder on your phone, and that way, you can get it done. All right. But listen to me, guys. I think this is a pretty cool way to figure this out. So again, plus it just is helpful, all right, because it's boring. And I wanted to show you something to make these problems really quick. All right. So does everybody agree? Under y1, I can type in x minus 2 times 180 divided by x. Everybody type that in under y1. All right? And that's just the formula for the measure of what? That's right. It's the measure of the interior angle of a regular polygon. All right, so please type in x minus 2 times 180 divided by x. All right? Now, here is what I want you to do now. All right? Now, again, there is this button. What does that stand for? Come on, pay attention. Table set. I want you to go to second table set. All right? And that's like the second button on the top, I think. All right? So hit that. Now listen, I want to go to the independent variable, and I want to convert it over to ask, not auto. I don't want it to do auto. I want to ask. I want you to put in the data. All right? Now again, that's a really nice feature on your calculator to know where that is. All right, especially when you take standardized tests and you have to use your calculator. All right. Now, after that, I want to go to the table. All right, which is I think on all the way to the right. So if you hit second graph, it just comes up as a table, but it should be completely blank. Right? So now because it's blank, what I want you to do is I want you to type in 1. And you should get something. 1 for x. Yes. We'll just hit 1. And then something should come up for y. Right, but that doesn't make sense because you can't have one-sided polygon. Right? So type in 3. That means an equilateral triangle has what? 60 degrees, which we already knew. So now, plug in 4. And what do you get? Is everybody with me? Now, your objective, guys, look up, please. Your objective now is to try to get these numbers. All right? So the smallest one is what? 135. So do 4, do 5, do 6, do 7, do 8. You see, as you're entering those in, it's telling you the number of sides. Everybody with me on that? Right? You guys with your calculators, you understand what I'm saying?
That's telling you how
many degrees each angle is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right?
Shouldn't it be small, not big?
What?
Why is it so big?
Well, because you have to remember, the more sides
Oh, the bigger they get, because it makes it a circle.
There you go. And that's how they actually figured out the circumference of a circle, believe it or not. All right, anybody have any questions with this? All right, that's just a quick way to do it. If you don't feel like doing all the math, you can use your calculator, little things like that would help. All right, so now let's take a quick look at 13. Everybody take a quick look at 13. How many sides does that have? 5, so 3 times 180 is what? 540, very good. So I have the sum of all those angles have to equal 540. Everybody agree with that? So now, how many x's do we have? I think I got 26.
Yeah. Oh,
All right.
add up.
And then we're adding up the constants, which is, to me, it looks like 20.
Where did you get 26?
Are you having trouble with 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 4 plus 7?
Yeah, not good. How did you get the constant? Okay.
All right. 26 plus 20 equals 540. So obviously you would look at that and say x is equal to, is that right? 20? All right. That's all there was to it. Everybody agree? It's simple.
So, how do you get 135?
Okay, so for 135, what number are you on? What number did you plug in?
Well, I said 7.
And what did you get?
128.
All right, then plug in.
I said 7.5.
No, you can't do 7.5.
8.
Yes.
Oh,
Right. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you can't have 7.5
yeah.
sides. All right, that's okay, Alex or Isaac. It's not one of your. All right, here we go. Next. All right. Now, the next thing you need to know on a polygon, all right, which to me has always been a little strange. So I want you to take a look at it real quick. The sum of the exterior angles of a polygon always add up to what?
27 ago.
All right, always add up to 360. So it doesn't matter how many sides there are. Believe it or not, the exterior angles remain constant. All right, so the exterior angles always add up to 360.
Does this only apply for regular?
It only applies for regular, yes. All right. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. No, it's just that they're equal on the exterior, right? All of the exterior angles. All right, so it doesn't matter what type of convex polygon, they will all add up to, they will always add up to 360. All right, so take a look at this though. Now I want to show you something that was somewhat confusing to me when I first did exterior angles. All right, because if we have this, if we have, for example, this hexagon right here, which is A, B, C, D, E, F, all right, there are 6 sides, all right, and there are 6 vertices. Now, the exterior angle, what they're saying here, please look up because I think this is where it becomes tricky. All right, I would say that there are 12 exterior angles. All right, but they only say there are what? 6. And I'm going to try to show you why real quick. Look. All right, here's where I think they got their logic. All right, so this right here is an exterior angle. That's an exterior angle, exterior, 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 and exterior. Is everybody okay with that? But to me, if I extend this line out, all right, that creates another exterior angle. Now, I can understand why this angle right here is not considered an exterior angle because it's vertical to that interior. Is everybody with me? Come on now, listen to what I'm saying because everybody makes a mistake on this part of the test. All right? To me, there should be, in my opinion, 12 exterior angles. And the only explanation I was given was, well, these 2 angles are equal, so that's why they decided to say there is just one vertical or one exterior angle. Does everybody with me on that? All right, so to me personally, there should be, or it seems like there should be what? 12 exterior angles. All right, but there's not. It's like vertices. There are 6 exterior angles, all right? And because there are 6 exterior angles, the measure of each exterior angle is always, if it's regular, is always 360 divided by n. For exterior angle. So you might want to write that down or see it. Right? If it's regular, though. If it's regular. All right? Now, the next thing which I'm really going to do to try to help you out is this. All right? Which, and like I said, I don't know why the book doesn't just teach it this way, but they don't. All right? So, in my opinion, what is true about the exterior angle and the interior angle? They are supplementary, which means they add up to 180. And that's what we're going to do. All right, that's exactly what we're going to do. I think that's the easiest way to do this. All right, so let me explain this now. All right, so I'm going to now go back to the previous worksheet, and I'm going to show you how quickly it can be done. All right, now keep in mind that the exterior angle, 360 divided by n, is equal to the exterior angle. Please look up, because some people for some reason can't see this, which means your algebra skills are a little weak. So please look up. I also want you to say that 360 divided by the exterior angle is the number of sides. Now you should be able to say, well, that's so logical. Why is he even telling me that? Right? Everybody see that? If not, I can show you the math real quick. All right? Well, I'll assume that someone doesn't know. I can multiply both sides by n, and then I can divide both sides by the exterior angle. So n is also equal to 360 divided by the exterior angle. So everybody with me on that? All right. So now keep in mind what I said, that the exterior angle, plus the what? Interior angle is always 180 degrees. All right, so now let me show you how quickly you can do these problems up here now. All right, look. So, for example, again, look up here. All right, much quicker. If I say, well, if the exterior angle, or if the interior angle is 160, the exterior angle would be what? Would be 20. 20 degrees is equal to the exterior angle, and then 360 divided by 20 is what? 18. All right, so the number of sides is 18. Everybody see how much easier that is? All right, so there's a relationship between the exterior angle and the interior angle, so you got to pay attention so you kind of see the logic here. To me, it's obvious. All right, I shouldn't have to say it that many times. All right, the exterior and the interior angle always add up to 180, and 360 divided by the exterior angle is always the number of sides. To me, that's the quickest way to do that. So one more time, just to make sure. All right, the exterior angle would be what for number 9? 5 degrees, and then 360 divided by 5, that is, I think, 72. There are 72 sides. All right, yes.
I was on that table I was plugged in a really high number, and it would always stay at 180. That's exactly what. Yeah.
Right, and you'll learn.
Doesn't it go like 179?
Well, when you get to calculus, you'll learn about the limit as n approaches infinity. All right, as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, something has to happen, and that's actually how they figured out the formula for circumference. They also figured out the formula for area of a circle. That's really, really fascinating, but it's just not possible for me to explain it right now. But when you get to calculus, they'll show you all that good stuff. Again, super, super interesting. What?
Calculus hard for you?
Is that after?
No, it's not hard.
Is that
It
after
really is
algebra?
not. Yeah, it goes algebra, then pre-calculus, then calculus. It's really not hard, but it's something you have to keep up with every day. All right, it's very simple. All right, and that's why I'm trying to show you guys right now. You understand what I'm saying. I have a problem with people who memorize what I'm trying to say. It's of no value because eventually you're going to get to a point where you can't memorize the facts. As soon as you stop understanding math, everything caves in. All right, math is easy for me because I understand what the big picture is. All right? You have to understand what I'm saying, or it doesn't mean anything. All right? What?
On the calculator as well, as I kept on like doing higher numbers, it's becoming smaller and smaller. Like, why is that?
Well, for higher numbers for what?
So like if I do 8, it's 135, and then if I do 9, it's like 139 or something like that. And then once I do like 71,
Are you talking about n minus 2 times 180 divided by n?
the higher the number gets, like,
Let me show you, because let me show you something that's really kind of cool. I think I can explain that. Thought about it for a quick second. So look up. All right. Now, let me distribute 180. All right. So here's what we have. We have 180n minus 360 over n. Does everybody agree with that? All right. So he said something pretty smart. He said, as, and I'm going to try to show you the notation, as n gets bigger, that's all that means, my answer is getting closer to 180. All right, so let me try to explain why now. Watch, it's kind of cool. All right, it's called actually a horizontal asymptote. All right, but let me just explain how simple it actually is. It's an asymptote, is what they call it. All right, it's a line that the graph is approaching. All right, it's a line the graph is approaching. All right, but I don't care about the words. I almost didn't say it, but you know what I mean. It really, in algebra 2 you learn about it, so it's not important. What's important is understanding what I'm trying to show you right now. All right, why is the answer 180? All right, as n gets bigger. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm going to try to show you what happens to the value of 360 as n gets really big. All right, and I always try to equate this to like Bill Gates or somebody who's got a lot of money. All right, if I subtracted $360 from Bill Gates' bank account, it literally wouldn't even show up. Right, if he goes to the grocery store and spends $360, it's not even going to show up. When you have $54 billion in the bank, when I subtract $360, it's not going to say, I now have 53,999,999,000. You see my point, right? It's not going to do that. All right, the numbers are too long. All right, so what I'm trying to show you now is as n gets closer to infinity, and infinity is not a number, it's an idea, right? As it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, what is happening to the 360? We say that 360 is insignificant. It's like 0. All right? So if that's insignificant, then technically my problem is 180n over n. And as n is approaching what? Infinity, I show kids that 180 times infinity divided by infinity is actually what? It's actually 180. That's exactly right. All right? So that's how simple math is. That's a little calculus question for you. All right? Yes?
So why doesn't, like, do math people, like, do they not show the 179.999, like all of that, you know, 80? Why don't they do that?
Well, because remember, we can't, listen, so the idea in math is that we don't know what's going on for every single term. So that's why we have this as it's getting closer to infinity. It's never going to be what? It's never going to be 180. It's going to be so close that we say it's what? 180. Just like I was trying to show you in one of my classes, I used to have I get an argument with my professor about, has everybody heard if you take half, if you drink half your bottle of water every day, are you ever going to drink all of it? And the answer is obviously what?
Yes. Well, do you fill it up?
No. So you have a bottle of water, and you drink half of it every day.
Yes, we do.
right? Are you ever going to
No.
finish it?
No.
Well, you're gonna always
It's like that piece of paper falling in half. Like how it's actually gonna be.
Well, then you're gonna
Right.
Okay.
So obviously, to me, the answer is no. Because you can always divide by 2.
Yeah, that's why there's no such thing
Right.
as zero.
And so when you divide by 2, believe it or not, to me, I can always take half of something. But believe it or not, the answer is yes.
Oh, so
That's why I said yes.
Right? It is yes.
yeah, I said yes
No.
too.
No, but logically, here's what I'm trying to say. It's not logical, all right? I can take half of any number. I can take half of any number. But I can prove to you that if I take 1, right, and I subtract out a half, subtract out a fourth, subtract out an eighth, eventually I will get to what? I will get to 0, right? So again, to me, it's not logical, and I argued with my professor all the time, saying, obviously, what you're saying is not true. Right? But if you know advanced math, we can write out the formula and show you exactly how, if you add up half of something, there's always a sum. All right, and honestly, that's how, believe it or not, that's how your calculators work. Your calculator doesn't know operations. It just knows what we say, adding up sequences and series. It's absolutely fascinating. But for me personally, I say, of course, you're never going to drink all of your water if you drink half of it every day. All right, there'll always be some left. All right, but we say that the amount is so small, what? It's gone. All right, I don't accept that because I can take half of anything.
Like with that, scientists like prove that nothing is actually touching. It's just like the reaction.
Well, you'll see eventually, and it's really math to me is really fascinating. All right, and again, because there are people who actually see these kinds of things. I'm not one of those people. I have to actually study what they're saying. All right, but some people, that's obvious. If you take half of something, eventually it'll be all gone. To me, it was no. I can take half of something. All right. Yeah. All right.
What comes after calculus? Like
Calculus 2, Calculus 3, differential equations.
That's what I'm taking.
Non-Euclidean geometry is one of the most fascinating things you'll take in college if you major in math.
Not
And
majoring.
we're right now studying Euclidean geometry, and you get to non-Euclidean geometry, we can prove that the angles of a triangle add up to more than 180. You can add that they add up less than 180.
Why are we doing
What is
this?
it?
Why are we doing
Let's
this?
say. Right, I'm agreeing. Euclidean is the guy who discovered all of this.
Okay.
All right. I'm listening.
Wait,
Why don't some high schools offer pre-calc anymore?
They do?
No, they don't anymore.
Everybody does.
No, my brother skipped it.
Well,
My brother is sophomore and he takes AB.
well,
Yeah, like when
no. So what some schools are doing is they're putting algebra 2 and pre-calculus in the same year.
Oh,
They're
that's
gonna have to take
That's all.
calculus too.
All right. Because when you take pre-calculus, you review everything in algebra 2 and then do the new stuff. All right.
What do you take
What's
next?
up for algebra?
You can take BC calculus.
Algebra 2 is calc.
All right. But anyway, let's knock this out. I only got a couple seconds here, so listen to me. So I know. So it says the sum. Find the sum of the measures of the exterior angles. So this is a trick
But
question.
they're convex.
On 1, 2, and 3, the sum, they are all what? Yes, they are all 360. All right, the sum of the exterior angles is always constant. It's always 360 degrees. All right. Now it says, find the measure of the exterior angle. All right, so if we want to find the exterior angle, we said it's always 360 over n. All right, 360 divided by 12. All right, and so on. All right. Now, again, this is, if you want to save yourself some time, you can go under y1 and do 360 divided by x, and then type in, 12, 6, 20, 40, and it
Why
just
was it 30? Heptagon is a 7.
isn't
Doesn't sound like it's
360. Isn't 360 divided by 12 30?
Oh, is that? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Right? 360 divided by 12.
Wait, heptagon is 7.
Heptagon is 7. That is correct. All right? All right, so get that done real quick, and then we'll go on and finish up.
Charge right calculator. Why did you become a math teacher and not just one of those people that like goes and solves like math stuff?
Because honestly, I was in high school, I was helping kids. I was always.
So you were always that smart kid that helped people.
So you're like,
You were the right one. Oh. Is it okay to get decimal for this?
Yes, the exterior angle can be a decimal. Just the number of sides can't be a decimal.
Oh, I hate getting decimals.
That'd be so weird. Half the side.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, last year, like, after, like, every, like, unit, you give us, like, cookies, because you like this one, because you're 7th graders. And then like,
You're just abused for babies.
there's calculator.
Yep, it does. That's why I showed you on the calculator, you type in the equation and just it spits out the answer.
wait, don't they have to like retype the equation every time?
But why does that
No,
help you?
if you put it under
Why
y
does that help
equals.
you? Why does that help?
Why calculator?
Yeah, why does that table help you?
You type in 360 divided by x, and then you go to the table. And you type in, like, 7.
Yeah.
Wait, what's an heptagon?
It makes it easier. But then why didn't I do 360 divided by 12?
Because that's 360 over 7.
And it's basically x. Yeah.
Does it have to be 7? Do you like not like science? You do not like science.
Science is math.
I know.
Oh, so that was the answer, and that's what the
Math
formula
proves
for that is.
You can't use science without math, but can you use math without science? Yes.
Well, like algebra.
Math is what created all the science.
Do you know what really bothers me? What you said, that everything's just like made up of teeny tiny little particles. It's all just like nothing's touching. Nothing's touching. Like it's all just little teeny tiny. Yeah, it's all just teeny tiny little particles. This is all just atoms.
I'm touching
This is all atoms.
No, I'm touching the dead.
I'm touching the atoms. Yeah, you're not going to feel it. Yeah, you're feeling all the atoms. Yeah, you're not actually feeling it.
All right, okay, so
But
listen,
you're feeling atoms.
stop. Let me just close real quick. All right, hey,
I'll burn all my atoms.
girls, listen real quick for one last minute, just to make sure, so we can get out of here with no homework. All right, one last little thing. All right. On the next slide down to the third worksheet. All right. On the third worksheet now, what is 7, 8, 9, and 10? All right. So if you're trying to figure out the angle, everybody should know the angles of a quadrilateral add up to 360. So listen, I'm not asking you to do it. I'm just asking you to listen. That means that these angles, you would just add the angles up and set them equal to what? 360. So that's true for this, and that's true for this also. Simple math. All right. However, in question number 10, all right, the hexagon, right, is 4 times 180, all right, which is 720. So you would take all of these, set them up, and equal to 720. Let me know for that.
Oh, it's always 180 times number of sides.
That's 720.
No, I figured that out real quick because I used the formula n minus 2 times 180. That's the sum. All right, and I knew there were 6 sides. So 6 minus 2 times 180 is 720 degrees. Yes,
So the sum of the exterior angles is always 360.
that's exactly
And
correct.
there's always the amount of exterior angles, the amount of angles on the side.
Exactly, but you have to remember what I told you is these aren't regular though. So there's not.
It's regular.
No. The angles, the interior angles are only the same, are only equal if it's regular.
Okay, but what about like the exterior angles? The amount is the amount.
Always constant.
Constant.
360. If it's a
That'd be like number like 5 or 6. If it's a Polygon, there's 5 and 6.
yes,
I'll
that's
take
right.
both of them morning, but I want to see after that. My dad didn't think after that.
All right.
He passed.
The end.
I don't think